Hey, good morning, folks. We are going to continue working on Spelljammer Combat and Exploration artwork for the book that we're creating here, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. So give me a second here to check my signal, make sure I'm coming through clear. I'll go through my intro spiel, and then we'll get to work here for 100 minutes or so, see what happens here. So hold on. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. That sounds good. Beep, 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 beep. I'm going to go through my intro spiel. So if you're catching us here in the future, hi future us. If you've seen this before, you can skip past until we get into the meat of the stuff. If you're new, you don't know what's going on yet, or you're here live with me, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition here for the past 5 years, and there is a slew of work that I've already created that is linked down below to DMsGuild.com, where I publish my work. There's extensive free previews for anyone that's here for artwork or D&D ideas. You can click on the link underneath. If you're on a desktop, there'll be, each of the pages has like the book art. Underneath the book art, there's a link that says full preview. If you are on a mobile device, there will be an eye icon on the right hand side of the screen. So if you click the eye icon or the full preview link, either one will throw open a PDF for you guys to be able to look at. It's probably about 150 different illustrations across the various books that I have linked down below. And if you did a search for Phil Kearney on DMsGuild as an artist, there's probably about 100 products now that have my artwork in it. So I'm thrilled that people have been enjoying the stock art that I've been producing. Thank you for the support. If you're into D&D stuff, I run games from basically level 1 to 20 in about 200 to 250 hours. So the things that I build and put on the DMsGuild are either tools that I wanted for a campaign that I'm running, or are inspiring me to run a campaign, and I needed to develop the rules for them to do so properly. And either way, when we come up with an idea, we'll play test it. If it's fun, we'll come up with the words. We'll smith the words together, send them off to an editor. The editor will do cleanup to make the words sound good, and then send it back to us. We then can lay out all the words into the, I use MS Word for my layout program. So I break up the words into bite-sized pieces of information that I put on each page. And once each page has its own ideas, you can see all these blank spots in the document where we can then fill in illustrations by drawing into an individual page, like we're working on this page right now. So we'll take this page here, we'll extract this as a PDF. We'll come over here to Photoshop. We'll drop the page into Photoshop, and then we'll start painting on it. So that's what we're going to continue doing today. We're currently at episode, where are we at right now? Hey, Ornetico. We're at episode 272 right now. So anyone that's out there that thinks this stuff might be cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We're at 240 subscribers now, so thanks for added people jumping in with us. I'm also on Twitter X at Phil Kearney, so if you're on that platform, you can tag along if you want to see different articles, illustrations, and previews that I've been creating for you guys to take a look at. Otherwise, thanks a lot for sticking around. We're going to continue working on this Goblin Commander, and we're using Wizards of the Coast's Goblin from the Monster Manual for color references. I don't see color myself, so I am reliant on reference images like this to tell me what colors make sense, and Wizards of the Coast art is reliable, whether it's D&D or Magic the Gathering. Generally, I can trust the color palettes that are being used, that they'll make sense. I have a decent sense of color theory over here using the RGB scale about saturation, distancing, lighting, shadows using cold versus light, or like cold light using warmth in the shadows. I understand the basics of this stuff, but only hypothetically. So I'm going to grab a mid-tone here of this Gobbo. And I'm going to, first off, let's take that, and let's group those and call it Goblin. Yeah, that feels right. Okay, now we're going to 100%. Got my Gabo color. There we go. Just going to do a blanket coloring right now, just to block in the shape. Just blocking it. It's just comic blocking, right? And once I have the base color established, I can use that for my outline to then further block in like the hat color and the color of the spyglass and blah 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 blah. We'll block it all in comic book style. That's what we're currently doing. Once we have it blocked in, we'll then do another passover layer for lighting, shadow, and then once those are done, we'll merge the line art to the color art, and then we'll use the line weight from the line art. We'll use that to help build texture over the color for the materials that we're building, and then add in additional detail. So if we're lucky, the muse is going to step in and start running program, and I will be able to have an opportunity to slide back in consciousness a little bit, to start talking about whatever it is I'm going to talk about and ramble on, not pay so much attention to what the actual art is, and just let the muse do what she's built to do, which is crack out kick-ass artwork through me. We all have our own muses. It's just, what do you train them to perform for you? And I have, there's my first timer. I'm going to set this to 20 minutes. It is 6:12 here in Seattle, so we have just a little bit more than 100 minutes for me to play around with this today, and we'll see how far down the rabbit hole we can get with the detail work here towards being completed. For those that are new to the channel, I stream 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. I take Sunday off for family. And while I stream during the week, I'm in the mornings, Monday through Saturday. I stream artwork on Mondays and Thursday nights, and I do 5e game development design work on at lunchtime on typically Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, including today. So I'll be online. Working the Martial Powers project, continuing to convert Ranger conclaves to the Martial Power format, providing a bonus power of a bonus kit of powers, kind of like spellcasting for each of the subclasses for fighters, monks, rangers, rogues, barbarians, fighters, monks, rangers, rogues. Right, and paladins already get a kit of 10 spells, so that doesn't change. But we're just making sure that all subclasses get a kit of 10 bonus something. Now that we have a unified mana language across all 13 classes, we can give each of them the same sort of format of perks, right? That's what the power list is for. Excuse me. Hornetico, man, how you doing today? That's it for my intro spiel, guys. So we're into it. I'll finish this Gabo. I gotta do this railing here, and then I'll bleed in space in behind him as a to help frame the image. So that should be a lot of fun. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's really simple. Hold on. I'm gonna grab this to this, and then drop this into a folder we'll lovingly call trash. We'll call this rail. We have the goblin already. I have the solution. I don't need spyglass anymore, so I can throw that away. I have the rail. I have the goblin. I have the rail. I had to have the goblin. 400 pounds of pudding. Take that to there. I'll just toss that in the trash. Rail reference. Good to go. Let's bring that reference a little bit more. There. Just organize them a page. Let's see. Goblin, rail, trash, and this will be space. first off, let's do some environment clean. Now that we have this blocked in, let's do some environment cleanup around the goblin to keep everything clean. Like that. So just so we don't lose any details real quick. Here. Doing right. Just woke up. Ah, got it. Me too, my buddy. Just woke up. So we'll play till 8 o'clock here in Seattle. Then I'll go do my day job. And then I think I'll be back at 11. So, yeah, 3 hours after we finish streaming, that's when I should jump back on to continue working on the Ranger Conclaves. I don't imagine we're going to finish today, but it'd be awesome if we could. And we finished the commission that we had been working on Saturdays. So now my Saturdays are back to personal work until I pick up another commission, and I'm fencing off new commissions until after this book is finished. So I'm anticipating mid-late January. Sorry, July for sure. I'm looking at mid-late January for this thing to be on DMsGuild, and at that point I'll open up new commissions for anyone that is looking for like book cover art or whatever it is that I might be able to assist with, cartography, etc. I open up one slot on Saturday for me to do commission work. But we're going to start doing the Martial Powers playtest once the book publishes. So I'll have a vote up on my Patreon, and people that are contributing at least $1 get preference in the voting rights on what day it is that I will end up choosing to run the 3rd to 7th level campaign for us to play test the Martial Power system. And there we go. He looks pretty good there. Oh, that's right. We're going to work with. I was doing cleanup so I could show you space. So it's really simple. We just do an overlay of the color smudge that we have in the border here. Very simple. And then we can just do a light over, just adding in some light starfield behind this guy as he's perched on this railing here. There we go, just like that. It's a fun way to sort of break the fourth wall, as it were. We've used this technique a couple different times in different illustrations in the exploration and a little bit in the combat chapter. I think in the hazard section. It's a way for us to sustain. Like we have this hard edge here for where the text is at, but this is a bleed. It's depending on the style, like what the composition of the illustration is. Sometimes it's fun to have it bleed in. Sometimes it's more fun just to do a solid break. Like for example, let's go take a quick look at the exploration chapter here. We'll go to done sections. This was the half-page environment that we were painting last week. So you can see here, I have a little bit of a bleed mixing in with the border here to help propagate the star field here, but then I'm going with a hard break frame here for the rest of the picture, using the star space as a frame for the illustration as a whole, because it doesn't do me any benefit to have this bleed off all the way to the edge. That would compromise the navigation rail at the bottom here. So in some instances, I'm sustaining the frame as a frame for the picture, but I also have the option to be able to bleed over the edge to help like literally break that fourth wall, you know, to make everything bleed in together. And then I do various bleed fade techniques just depending on what the composition is. So having said all that, the point, there's no real point. It's just, this is how I'm framing the composition. And so I can like do a bleed out like this. Blur the lines where that kind of fades in. See, and at some point this border becomes a border again, and it's no longer part of the composition. It breaks and becomes framed for the rest of the illustration. But this background will help make sure I have good contrast on this goblin on the rail. Here, but as we move through the piece, I can let the skyscape sort of drop out like this. So by the time we get to a place where where the border of the artwork is going to hit the text, we're using the background to bleed out and fade into the black and white space that we have for the text. So it's just a little compositional thing that I can futz with, but since I have like full control over the page, like every pixel of the page I can manipulate, and then I can reflect whatever it is I'm manipulating by moving or rearranging text here on the page. So when I pick up this illustration, I'll just be able to do just a block. Like I was showing the first time we were on this page, I can just create a block that nestles up against the border of the text here, right along this edge. Actually, that's even a little bit too big, so I could like pull that to there, and then I can drop this here. I want to make the absolute edge just underneath the text of the G. There, so this would be the size of the illustration. You can see the line. This would be the size of the illustration that we pull. It would actually bleed down in this space, so that when I pick it up, it'll grab all this border as well. And this navigation bar is a separate object that's going to sit on top of the illustration. When we go back in and we integrate, we'll have a separate. We're basically illustrating the bar down here that will string up with hyperlinks, and then we'll be able to copy paste the illustration, that navigation bar. I'll just be able to go through and just automate replicating it for all 106 pages, so we have a consistent navigation bar here along the bottom. It's faded because it's part of the footnote as the overall illustration, so it gets faded out, but when it actually prints as a PDF, it'll come through full richness like this, and it'll just be really easy to integrate it. So hold on real quick. File, export, PDF. Interior pages, combat, options, current page, document only, no tags or properties there. And let's just replace page 44. And it'll throw open a PDF. See, it has the same richness as I have in Photoshop. See, so it'll be easy for us to extract this, and it'll just seamlessly overlay in the PDF like this. And then I'll bind it all together. Get out of the way. Then I'll bond it all together into a PDF, seal it up, and then it'll also be available for people to look at on the DMsGuild. So there you go. That's how that stuff works. That's how I make it work. So, and you can see I have like the color is bleeding out on the edges of the foot here. So that's giving me indication, and I get to work the subtleties here of bleeding this together. And it bleeds out around here. There you go. And I can pull up on this. Pull this into the composition. So I'll work myself across the page. The skyscape will, the space backdrop will just naturally bleed out, like we were talking about, into the page. Let's up the strength of that so I can pull a little easier. There we go. And I can do artsy stuff, like do like a wibbly fade, sort of smoky something as it bleeds out into the gray space. And I'll have the freedom to be able to manipulate this like clouding or this diffusion effect to help with whatever the lighting and coloration we end up with on this gobbo hanging out on this rail here. I'm gonna drop that. Oops. Let's drop the strength of my smudge brush down to 20% so that it's really good at just blending into itself. This is the cloud brush that I use for landscapes when I'm painting scenery or whatever. It's a good universal blending brush. It's a cacophony of different opacity circles that are overlaying each other that pull pixels at different strengths depending on where on the brush the pixel falls. So it gets dragged around and diffused and smudged apart, and it creates this general fluffidiness. Like that. Just push that in, just work it into the canvas, as Bob Ross would say. There we go. And yeah, you can see how that border is starting to emerge from the illustration. That's a good way to fade this in, to have it just work. And then I'll have I'll build a box around it, a masking layer box to help make sure that I frame off and lock in any of the pixels that are floating around inside of here. Takes a little while to work the pixels in this way, but it's a level of just working things manually helps make sure that I'm staying grounded, as it were. This is how I touch grass during the composition to make sure everything is just folding together properly and how I can feel how it sits. Just getting more intimately familiar with the composition that we're building. And here we can see the framing is starting to reform here as well. I like that. I like how that sits. So for the most part, we'll be able to have this like this. Vaguely. Roughly. Almost there. There we go. That feels pretty good. This takes a few moments just to let the pixels bleed into each other. There we go. Good. That is good. There, and just clean up my circles. There. Space. Railing. Let's pick out something for. Let's pick out some sort of color for the railing. Let's go to our composition here. What is that? I think that'll work. Oh, interesting. Like that. Ish. All right, so here's a conflict. I need to figure out how do I want to have this rail, because I don't want this rail going off the page. It just looks, it doesn't, it looks weird. So I am going to use the actual frame to block in and limit the railing. My belly just rumbled and it sounded like a camel. I've got camel belly. Who gives a hump? Where? There. Yep. There we go. Good frame. No, we're just gonna, Yeah, like that. Checking to see if that perspective, that railing is working out properly. And I think I need to trim off a little bit more over here to get that perspective to work properly. But now we're starting to bleed into that shape there. How's that? Hey, what's up, Shiner? Well, I'm glad to have you here, my guy. You're in are you in New Zealand or Australia? It's good to see you, my guy. Thanks for swinging by. Right on. Where's my stuff? There we go. Good. Oh, the illustration? Yeah, so far so good. So far so good. We're coming along. I have to be mindful of the railing is a bit of a challenge because my cutoff point is here. There we go. That's our point. That feels, there we go. Good frame. And we can trim it down here. And here. Now we have our absolute edge. There we go. Good enough for now. We'll actually probably have potentially a gap right here. No, it needs to be a little thicker. Yep. So that's going to be straight edge. There we go. And then let's grab this here as an overlay. Starts. So it probably means I can scoot Gabo back. To line up with the railing properly. that is proper sitting. So now I just need to grab and pull the whole composition down. Like that. Good, now we're back in good frame. Cool, so we can then go here and drop edge. There we go. The structured stuff takes more time than the organic stuff for me. But that's just because the style I've always had this like loose, sketchy style that that organic material kind of just naturally lends itself to. Drop him down just another tick. There we go. That's good composition. Now we can stitch up the rail for the time being. Well, I'm going to take this here and I can... There, drop the shadow a little bit. But now we can see where the green is playing outside the lines. So we can go into here, make sure we have everything touched out. See, the line work does a ton of the detail for us. The coloration is more of a what's the word I'm looking for? More of a the word is eluding me. But it's the line art that does all the nuance. It's like a oh god, it's on the tip of my tongue. The word is like a flourish. Thank you. The line art does all the heavy lifting. The color is flourish. And then when we blend them together and integrate the texture, again, the line art is going to do the lifting for the texturing. And yeah, we want to have that in there. For your hat. There you go, buddy. The badass little hat. Well, Shiner, my dude, I'm glad you swung by. You gotta crash, you gotta crash. So. I'll be back at this again tomorrow morning. We got martial powers at lunch today. We'll continue converting the conclaves of Ranger into the martial power system. We'll get done. We should definitely get done with the Monster Slayer today, and it'll just be a matter of do I have enough time at lunch for me to complete the Swarm Keeper or not. If not, I can spend some time tomorrow morning. Just finishing that off. I think we're gonna play since the book cover commission is done. My Saturdays are open. I'm thinking I want to maybe spend some time playing around with the campaign I need to build to playtest the martial power system. I'm thinking that's where I want to go. We're gonna have our skin base here. Now I want to grab this. I'll grab a mid-tone here, the hat. guys, it's called flatting, where you're just coloring in a flat, you're just blocking in color, a flat layer of color, hence flatting, to help define the shape of the color that you're going to be, that we're going to be detailing. So this process does tend to take a little time. So we'll drop in flats here, and then we'll, like this medallion that's in this, that's in the hat, we'll have a separate layer for the medallion. And then we'll do the highlights and the shadow for the color underneath the line art. And once that's done, that helps set the line art. Then gets merged into the color, and we can use the line art to help build texture and detail into the color underneath the frame. And then it'll look like a painted piece. Yabba-da. And we'll give him some dark pantaloons, and we'll look at alternate color for his jacket. There we go. Let's figure out. Such a great face. Let's see. Leather, skin, line, teeth, eye. Using my RGB over here to guide me on what colors I want to pick. Right now I'm trying to find a decent color for the telescope. I think this will probably be a good color. Let's go up here and take a look at this. Ooh, I have good color here. That feels pretty good. There, that's the one. That's supposed to say telescope. Yeah, that's not enough contrast. I need a bit more. There, we'll go with that. Nope, can't go with that. That'll do. Let's see. Pauldrons. Armor. Metal. Metal. There we go. Let's just go with metal. So we have metal here. We have metal here. We have a bunch of metal here. Blocking takes a little while to do. The more complicated the piece, the more small little bibs and bobbles that there are, the more time and attention I have to spend to the blocking process. Art, the line art is often very fast, depending on the composition and how skilled I am at rendering it. Like this character, like this character composition was like maybe 2.5 hours to build that guy out, and then this framing that we're doing is proving to take, where are we at right now? It's 7:15 already. So this took where we're at with color this instant. This took an hour. We started about 50 minutes ago. 47 minutes ago we started. So this is as much progress as we made in 47 minutes. Let's see. So we're making decent time, but we shan't finish the composition today. No chance. Here we go. A metal pauldron here. Pauldron. And then armored sleeve. Power armor! Good. Yeah. I see you. Okay, so we can go with leather here. As well. Yes. Now we just need to figure out the color we want that jacket to be. I don't think I'm gonna find an answer on this character. Well, maybe. Let's look at this leather down here. These scraps. Might be something useful I can extract from there. Is that going to be decent? Could be. Let's find out. Leather. Underneath the leather is going to be jacket. It's very same. I'm concerned about that. Just block it in. And we can just form click to switch it out. Yeah, it feels too dark. I could just fade it. That would blend. That might blend weird with the green that's underneath it. What does that look like now? Oh, well, it's not green, is it? It's just it's a sharper red. This is a more dull. So I think that might work. It's same on color. I'm not liking how much of red this thing seems to be sitting inside of overall. I want to get more like this bluishness. I want to get more bluishness in. Where can I find how about blue pirate coat? Let's see if this works. Let's give that a go. Nope. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. Okay, so now we have our little gobbo blocked in. We finished our blocking. So now we get to we get to start doing detail work. So let's see, we're at 7:20 now. I haven't taken any drinks at all, so I think I need to. What if I use the telescope color instead of the metal? And then jacket. What about that instead? That's, I think, arguably a better composition. Yeah, let's try going with that. Let's try going with that. Let's go to skin. No, metal. Right. Merge down. There. What's next? foreshortening like that. There we go. There, let's get rid of the green underneath that. I'm doing some cleanup right now. So I have less to worry about when we get to the actual detail work. Good. All right, so now we can not do that. Let's go with, let's hide the railing, and let's go to line art. We can start doing cleanup. Let's clear some of this garbage out. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using this chore of cleaning up the composition. I'm using it so that I can have an eye on the art, the line art and the color around it, because the next step that I'm going to do is start doing highlighting and shadow work for the color that we just put in. And so I'm taking a moment here to be productive and pause on like what's the next thing I need to do. So by sitting here and going around the frame and erasing this stuff, it's giving me a chance to kind of survey what it is that we've done so far and where we need to be while doing something, you know, productive like this border cleanup, just to make it a cleaner composition, right? So it's not such a sketchy final piece, is I think what I'm trying to say. I don't want it too pristine. I'm just cleaning up gritty edges outside of the color space, like there. I am like way leaning away from, where am I at? I feel so distant. There, okay. So I feel comfortable now. I can start, let's see, skin. Clean up this raggedy edge here. That is metal. Hop, hop, hop. Now we can go back to the line. There. All right, so I feel confident now. Let's keep my beach clean, tidy up, be considerate to others. Skin. Line. Clean. There we go. All right, cool. So composition feels good. We'll work on the railing separately. I love all the texture that's just naturally blending in here. We'll be able to make real good use of that. in short order. Hmm. Not bad, Kearney. I probably actually want a degree of separation here, so we'll figure out. We'll create a. Yeah, we're gonna have to separate that so these arrows are getting blended into the illustration a little bit too much. So we'll have to we'll have to drop a frame on here and make sure that pulls away. But we don't have to worry about that right now. So right now we can start working on the details. So let's start with we'll start with the metal. So we'll grab highlights here. We'll grab shadow here. And we'll start metal. We're just going with very, very basic form shapes. We're just blocking in the highlights the same as we would just block in the colors by defining the volume that it fills, the shape that it holds. And start teasing out little shapes. And we can use the rest of the form around it to help shape the cast shadows that'll fall across it. Much like that. Like that's a good foundation for us to then blend the line art into the details. There. So I'm intentionally putting the highlights towards the darker background and having more shadow towards where the background fades into light, so I can use the background to dichotomize and make the highlights that we're building in here pop out more. Which is why I want to make sure I have the background in place already, so that I can use it again to frame the form that I'm building, to help sculpt and shape where the highlights of the environment are actually going to hit on this guy. This is composition design. It's very rudimentary composition design, but it's the simplicity of it is what makes it ends up helping make it all very strong. The composition overall, that is. Boom. There. Crap. There. Nice. See? It's all coming together very, very easily. See, the line work does a lot of the lifting for the composition, like the way that the metal interacting, the frame of it all. It's very it's defined a lot by the line art. So you want to make sure that you're having good, strong line art in the beginning, so that you can just easily fill in the details of the color if you're using this style. Good. That feels good. Then like that. That feels pretty good. Take off the edge some. Here. I have a counter highlight along the edge over here. There, burp, 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 derp. Counter highlight along here, paint over, blend. Whatever this little bobble is he's got going on up here. You know, I think what I'm going to do is we should be pretty good about having these details. It's 7:37. I have about 20 minutes left. So we're just gonna keep working the underlying highlights and shadow for the color, and we shan't have time for us to be able to obviously finish the detail work in this session. So we're just gonna get it to we're just gonna get the highlights good, and then next session when we come back, which will probably I think we'll do this. I think we'll finish this on Monday. So we'll blend in the rest of the composition, on Monday. So I'll just keep at this here for the time that we have left, just to get as much of the initial work done, so that when we come through on Monday, we'll just be cruising right into detail and texture blending. Got a bunch of leatheriness going on here that I need to integrate. We also have a lot of opportunity here for chainmail. That's pretty cool. There we go. That's pretty good composition. I'm happy with that. Let's do similar here. A lot of darkness in here. Not going to be a lot of highlights. Need to take that back. Just basically block that in with. We'll let texture and subtle shading to resolve the bulk of that. We got this in here. Block that in. I feel like Yeah, that feels pretty good. Let's transfer to the leather then, since this is where we're at right now. We can stitch that shut. Telescope is using the same metal. Yeah, like that. Leather. And now we'll build a highlight frame for the leather. Super highlight, less highlight, more shadow. Yeah, good. Blocking the shadow. Just gonna smudge that stuff a little bit, just to work it into the canvas, as it were, to get it to start integrating into the slop of it, as it were. I'm using words and I don't know what they are, so don't mind me. Leather into the form with the lighting. Ba, ba, ba. There we go. Where are we at? 7:47. We're almost done for the day. So let's see if I can just blend this in here real quick. Make this feel good. Drop in some highlights here to start working that into the composition. Just a little pop here and there. I don't need to overdo it. You know, make sure we're paying attention to the counter highlight. Where do we go from here, huh, buddy? There we go. Working that canvas. Canvas. The V, Kearney. Boom. Secondary highlight. So far, so good. Yeah, okay, that all belongs together. Good. Skin. All right, so now we'll work on the skin. So let's grab our highlights here. Let's grab a shadow here. That's a good highlight. You know what? Yep, I think I'm just going to stop here. This is where my brain told me to stop, so this is where we're going to stop. So I'm going to be back in about 3 hours for us to continue work with the Martial Powers project. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning to continue. Well, I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow morning. We'll find out what the Muse wants me to do. And then we'll be back Monday morning to continue this composition. But so far, this guy's turning out pretty fucking great, man. It's a great little character sketch for a little corner piece, like a little 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's like a 1/16 page illustration, but it's looking pretty good. So, yeah, stick around, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon if this is stuff that you think is cool. I'd love to have you around in the future, and I'll see you guys in about 3 hours. So, laters.